Now, I promised everyone that if they listen to this podcast, they're going to get one of my more brutal coaching assessments. So I'm going to tee off with that, Rosie, if I can.
Yeah, you go.
I might be a while.
Okay, I've got myself
a beer again, you rat bag.
It's not. It's a solo.
An alcoholic one. This was a grand final in essence for the Tigers. It was a wooden spoon bowl. They have the worst attack in the competition, statistically. So one of the people on Facebook is really keen for me to answer whether they think Benji has improved them. Well, he's improved them in terms of 2 extra wins, but they're still rock bottom of the ladder. My assessment is that they do have some talented attackers, but the basics of the game are absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. One thing I noticed is that they play an awful lot between the tram lines. They don't go outside the tram lines very much. So if you think a rugby league field is 68 metres in width, the first tram line on either side is 10 metres in. So that means the field is 48 metres wide. And the next tram line is another 10 metres in, which makes the field 28 metres wide. 10 plus 10 equaling 20. So they restrict themselves a lot in their play. So they move the ball around a lot, which is giving people the mirage that they are playing more football. Parramatta made 260 tackles in that game, okay? But I really did a deep dive into the first half. And in the first half, so let's just half those tackles. I mean, I would argue Parramatta probably did more tackles in the first half than the second half. But half of 266 is 133, right? So out of 133 tackles, I know that they only had to get at marker, therefore the Tigers only ran at them on 7 occasions outside those tram lines. Okay? Now, 1, 2, 3 of those occasions were wide enough to be around and outside the second tram line towards the touchline. So therefore they played on a 48-metre width. 4 occasions, and on 3 of those they lost the ball, which means they're not comfortable moving the ball too much. On a few other occasions, they just went just outside and played in the what I would call the 28-metre area width. So when they do move the ball, they actually struggle to hold it. And another thing they did was drop the ball on tackle 1 or 2 on at least 5 occasions, on tackle 3 another 3 occasions, I think. So their completions were awful. Those statistics I gave you about the scrum lines and playing outside, they don't include when possession turned over. So, for example, if Parramatta ended their set in the far corner near the corner flag, if the Tigers ran out from there, I'm not counting that play the ball. I'm talking about when the Tigers actually play to get outside the tram lines. I am saying that they are so easy to defend against because they only play within 28 metres of width of the field on a field that is 68 metres wide. And sometimes they go 48 metres of width. They are so easy to defend against. And that's when they hold the ball. And on a lot of occasions, they don't hold the ball. There was a period there where they lost the ball on tackle 2 after only 4 minutes on the back of only getting a penalty. So they get some momentum, they get a penalty, they get down the other field, they lose the ball on tackle 2. They're not very good at the core skills of the game. They make silly decisions coming out of their own exit to try and play the way out of trouble, even though they've got no go forward. They then lost the ball again on tackle 2 in their own half and went upstairs with a very silly captain's challenge. Again, that's a sign of poor culture and selfish culture when a player's first reaction is, oh no, challenge that, challenge that, challenge that. And that little period, ended up with the Eels scoring the first try of the game. The Tigers kicked off. They kicked it straight away. They're poorly coached and the recruitment of their players has been awful. Now, I know they are part of a plan again. So all this positivity from the Tigers, I do understand it, but we've been here before. We've been here for the last decade or more. And I can tell they've got a lot of recruiting to do still because they have the worst defense in the comp statistically. They have passive and chesty tackling technique, and they have a compressed defensive line, and a compressed defensive line should not be easy to get through. But it was so easy for Parra to get go forward just by charging the ball into the compressed Tigers defense early in the set, and players just fell off tackles or got knocked back. There's too many missing the first up tackles. There's too many coming out of the line to make tackles. The edge jumps out. They also backpedal. So when they were sliding and you backpedal against that Micah Sevo, what's he going to do, Rosie? If you backpedal against Micah Sevo when he's running at you full tilt, what's he going to do?
He's going to do what he did to...
He's going to do